Writing can be broken down into two broad categories, expository and narrative. If you take a look at the front of the handy pages, you will notice that the basic narrative writing has a beginning, middle, and end. Step Up to Writing uses colors to code their writing, and in narrative writing, there is only purple, or sometimes a blue highlighter is used. Expository writing is the main type of writing that will be done in most middle school programs. An expository writing has an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Another way to explain them is to look at how both kinds of writing have common traits. They're clearly organized, they're interesting, there's a style to fit the purpose, and there is careful attention to grammar, mechanics, and presentation. But when you look at how they're different, you'll notice that expository writing might compare or contrast. It might persuade or convince. It might list, describe, or explain, or teach a process. Whereas narrative writing shows examples of biography, fairy tale, humorous story, a legend, a mystery, a tall tale. So again, expository writing will have an introduction, body, and conclusion, and narrative writing will have a beginning, middle, and end.
So for narrative, that we usually use blue or purple for, we have the beginning, middle, and end. And to go a little bit more in detail about that, the novel units that you'll be reading, or biographies or children's stories, things that you're used to hearing as the word story, that's a narrative. And in the beginning, we establish the characters in the setting. In the middle, that's where we have the plot and different events happening. There's rising action, falling action, and there's the climax, or as I always talk about, the firecracker moment, what's going on in that story. And then at the end, the problem is solved, and we have our solution. In this one, there are some secrets. You don't tell everything right in the beginning. Another type of writing is personal narrative, and personal narrative is very similar to narrative, although there is an introduction and a conclusion. And in the introduction and conclusion, we learn about what happens in the story. What's the message of why this person is teaching you this? So the message in this one is, this summer when I went to South Dakota, I learned the hard way that Jenny isn't all that bad. And then in the middle portion of it, it's like a narrative. You hear the story about how she learned that Jenny, her cousin, isn't all that bad. And then in the conclusion, we learn about how what the person learned. Jenny practically saved my life. She definitely saved the day. She still isn't my favorite cousin, but she is someone I'll pay attention to and appreciate more. So once again, this is personal narrative. It has an introduction and conclusion with a narrative in the middle.